Heyo! Happy Monday! I guess it might not be Monday where you are, but it's Monday here. Alright. I've got a piece of blue sparkly glass heating up in the annealer, and I'm going to whip up a Sherlock. I haven't made a Sherlock live in a minute, so let's get her done. I purchased this from Colorado Color Company. Sparkles. So I'm gonna shape all this up into a Sherlock. I'm just gonna get the whole thing hot first. And then I need to attach a handle so I can spin it with both hands. Now that I have another handle on it, the first step, I like to work away from the back this way. So first I'm going to taper down where the mouthpiece will be, pretty much where you put your lips on the piece. Pretty blue. Thank you, Eric. Isn't it though? It's super pretty. Reminds me of Avatar. So I'm going to taper down that mouthpiece. Now that the mouthpiece is tapered, I'm going to section it off for each section of the Sherlock. So I'm going to taper it down here, and here we'll have a mouthpiece, the middle sag part, and then I'll have the bow part. So creating sections. After I flash the whole thing. Thanks for the live, love watching you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching. So I'm making the line where the middle and mouthpiece are going to be separated. Now I'll do the same thing between the bowl and the middle. I need to be really careful in how hot I get this because of the sparkle. I don't want to lose my sparkles. So there's the bowl in the middle. Now I'm going to round out the mouthpiece. Gathered it up a little, pushed it together. Now this, if you watched my last live, this is exactly like the worm I did. So instead of sagging the middle first like I did the worm, I'm going to round out the bowl part. So then that's ready after the sag. So flash everybody, get it hot. And this is just how I make Sherlocks. Everybody makes them different. Now I'm going to cut the handle off and actually make it perfectly round. Well, as close to perfect as we can get. I took off what I do not want on the finished piece. Now I'm just going to get that whole bowl section hot and blow it out into a round, nice bowl. I don't want to get it too hot because of the sparkles. Don't burn the sparkles. Up and out. Alright. Give it a boom. I want to angle it up because there's a lot of glass up top. And that way when I angle up I can let everybody flow back, and that worked out very nicely actually. Sorry, there's a notification. Adios. Right. So I'm going to let that cool just a little bit, but as that cools, I'm going to heat up the rest of the piece. Alright. Here's what we got. So now I still need to sag it, and I don't have a handle, so I'm just going to make a light attachment called a punchy. So I don't want them completely connected. I want to be able to get this off after I sag it. So just a light connection there. Any kind of vibration now is going to pop that handle right off. So I got to be careful. Now I'm just going to focus on getting that middle part hot. So I don't want to get the mouthpiece hot. I don't want to get the bowl hot. Just that middle section for the sag. And don't burn the colors. Don't burn the sparkles, Jill. Don't sparkle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was nice. Give it a pause. I like to look down the mouthpiece into the bowl part to make sure they're lined up nice. I just don't know. Yes, it's really fucking hot on my arms. People ask that. It is really fucking hot, yes. And the reason I like to do this light attachment with the vibration knockoff is for this part. Because if I didn't have that light attachment, I'd have to do some funky move and try to rip off that handle in the flame and then round out the bowl then, which is actually how I learned. It's like, why don't I just round it out then? And look at that. Ready to pop a fucking hole for the bowl. So not everybody does it that. That's just how I do it. So now I'm gonna get the middle of the bowl hot to pop a hole. Or the middle of this round part hot. So I want to try and go dead center. Before I pop it open, I'm just going to give it a little puff because the glass is kind of thick right there. So switch switching hands because glass is a liquid when it's hot. Get a little poof, and then I'll pop it. And now I'm just going to circle around with a really sharp flame right around that hole so I can push the bowl. I want a blue sparkle Sherlock with the dot on it in a lighter blue. Oh, I can definitely do that. Nice and clean. Thank you. Hello, hello, Alvin. Alvin. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Okay. Sorry. You probably get that a lot. Alvin. So I'm just circling around that hole I just popped. You want to keep switching hands because, like I said before, when glass is hot, it is a liquid, so you don't want that hole sticking to one side or the other. You want it to stay dead center. Right before I go to push the bowl with this graphite rod, I'm just going to give it a puff. It'll make sure that hole stays the size I want it when I go to push the bowl. Puff, push. It got a little bit too big. It's a little bit too big, so I'm just going to blast the flame into that hole and it'll shrink down a little bit. Like magic or science. And I want to switch hands as I do this because it'll start to move. If it moves off center, you can just drag it back though. And it goes quick. Like you saw how long I blasted that and it shrunk a lot. That's the size I wanted though. I'm going to re-push it again just slightly because I got it so hot. And then round out the bowl hole. If it gets off center, you can get it hot and just like drag it with your graphite rod back onto center. That's pretty fucking good though. I don't even think there's any dividification. So now I can do the choke. Sweet technique. I've only made Sherlocks using 2 pieces. Oh, I've never made a Sherlock using 2 pieces. I love sagging the glass. I think it's a little bit of both magic and science. I agree. So for the choke, I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the bowl hole. I'm going to get a section hot first, poof it out, and then go back in the flame to pop it. So clog the hole, it'll poof up, get a floofy flame, clog the hole again. I like to bend down so the condensation doesn't go into the pipe. Sometimes your spittle, if you're going down, your spittle will go down into the pipe and just crack it, and then you're kind of fucked, which I've done. Not in a while, knock on wood, but I think every lamp worker has had a fatality like that. We call it the devil's, either the devil's spit or the devil's teardrop. I've heard both. So I'm just flattening that choke, making it round, making it flat, making it round. Blast out any kind of like haziness that got around the choke when you puffed it out. And then I prepped a ying-yang millie that's in the annealer. I'm going to grab and throw it on the side. Here's what we got so far. I didn't realize when I started this YouTube that so many glass blowers would actually watch and learn, so I'm really stoked about that. I love watching glass. I love it. Alright, I have a little yin-yang prepped up with a slime blue back. So this is the back of it. I'll show you the front after I stick it on. So I'm just going to get the pipe hot and the yin-yang bottom hot. But I don't want anything to lose its shape, so keep that in mind. And then when I go for the stick, I'm going to push it in a little more than I actually want to push in and then get it full. And that'll make it come together better. Come together. Push in, pull out, and now I already have that nice seal around most of it. Usually you get like a, if you don't do that hot enough, you have a lot of sealing to do. You know what I mean? So I got them both hot enough where I don't have to go around the whole thing forever and seal it on. Pretty on there. But I will go around, make sure everything is attached. And then I like to get the clear part, the lens, hot. And let the lens be, like, droop down and be on center. Alright, now I can show you what's up.
You can watch as the yin-yang will appear after the heat fades away. Here she comes. There it is. Ying-yang. Looks weird right there. I don't know why it does that. Oh, the reflection of the... You can see it though. Nice little yin-yang millie. I also purchased this yin-yang millie through Colorado Color Company and encased it myself. God, it looks funny when I... Anyways, enough playing around. So I'm going to add a kickstand to this. Not yet though, because everything like here down is now cold. So I put it back in my annealer. It's sitting at 1100 degrees. I'll let that reheat up, and then I can work on it as many times as I want. But the kickstand, I'll show you. The kickstand is going to be this sparkle piece. So I'll punchy it up from this side, which I should do now. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'll punny it up from this side so then I can smash that side down and stick it to the bottom, and then your Sherlock won't tip over. It'll have that little kickstand on the side. I hate Sherlocks that you have to set down and they just tip over. Oh, that went well. That was quick. Any quick questions before I... Okay, there's lots of questions. I still have my popper and pipe. Oh, good. Oh, you were the one that bought it on Etsy, weren't you? That finally showed up. It went to the wrong address first. Sorry about that. That wasn't my fault. That was the post office's fault. Do you have to anneal the glass in sand or something after? So some people will use sand or use like package it up in Kevlar, so hopefully it'll anneal properly. But really you should use a kiln. These are just kilns, or they're called an annealer. It's the same thing. And the point of annealing is to prevent thermal shock. So say you have a hot cup of coffee, you throw a piece of ice in there, it is gonna fucking crack. So that is the easiest example of thermal shock. If I were to just leave that pipe out, let it sit overnight, maybe it'll crack, maybe it won't. Eventually, it's gonna crack. So you have to let the temperature drop down evenly. It starts at 1100 degrees, and then it'll go to about 900, and then it goes to about 450, and then like 225. Everybody anneals differently, but it'll sit at those numbers for about an hour, so the whole piece will be one temperature. The problem is when, say, the mouthpiece is really thick and the bowl is really thin, and the mouthpiece doesn't get as cool in time as the bowl, uneven heat, and then it's going to crack. That was too much detail, I think. But that's why you anneal stuff. You can do it in sand. You can do it, I've seen people just make a chillum and put them between Kevlar gloves and hope for the best. Honestly, eventually I think those pipes are going to crack. So I anneal my shit properly. Everything stays in there the proper amount of time. Pretty, thank you. Could you use a specific sand on small things that aren't very thick? Yeah, you could. You definitely can. I worked at like So like Pride. I've gone to Gay Pride to do demos and they didn't have any power to hook up a annealer. So I just put everything in Kevlar gloves like I said before. And then, but when I got home, I did anneal everything. But everything was okay, so you can get away with it. It's just not the best idea. That sparkly glass is pure heaven. I know. I love that glass. I poured cold milk into a Pyrex and it exploded. I get it. Yeah. So I used to work at a place where we made smoothies and they were glass blenders. And after I made a smoothie, I went over to the sink and put hot water in it. So there's another example of thermal shock. Don't do that shit. I've also put, I put a ceramic plate over a pan once when I was making eggs. That blew up pretty good too. Don't do that. Thermal shock. Bye-bye dinner. Enjoy your dinner. I always have my tips set to 1050. Yes. Almost everybody I know sets their annealer to 1050. I do a lot of production work, so I'm like in and out of there a shit ton. So I prefer 1100 just because then it'll stay between 1000 and 11 as I'm working all day and I don't lose that heat on the inside. Same, I've been thinking about doing 1060 or 1070. Yeah, no, I like 11. And I have those little white flaps. They're kind of propped open. You can barely see them. But there's a little white flaps on the front of the kiln that are kind of propped open with all those sticks hanging out. All the handles hanging out. So then you lose a little bit of heat that way. It is at 11 right now though. So we're good. How do I get into this? I just took some classes. First I took some soft glass classes, so you got that like 5-foot pipe and you're gathering out of furnaces and you're going in glorious, you're sitting on the bench and using the newspaper, which I also do that too. That's how I started, and then I just met somebody there that was like, hey, you want to learn how to do pipes? And I was like, fuck yes I do. And a year later, I quit my job as a manager. I caught a kid and I just dove headfirst into pipe making. I never fucking stopped. Same, I've been, how do I, I'm here, bye-bye dinner, because it exploded. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's true. Nice bike. Oh, thank you. My boyfriend got me that bike for Christmas because I run too much and he wanted me to stop injuring myself. So, yeah, I ran a marathon actually on Friday on fucking ski hills. That was fun. My quads are still blown up from that. Alright. We've chatted long enough. The Sherlock is heated up. I was gonna say bye, but no, Nemo, you're stuck with me. I'm gonna put that little kickstand on the side. So here it is. I just wipe it off with my Kevlar glove. I'm gonna transfer it over. Just a light connection there. Cut it off down here, and I'm gonna pull off any of the shit I don't want on the end. And then I just like to give it a little flat spot for the connection point. So now I can pull that Sherlock back out. It is heated up enough. And then when I first started putting these kickstands on, I'd kind of give it a look on the table and where I'd want it, but I've made so many of these fucking things, I know where to put it. So same with the Millie. I'm going to get the pipe hot. I'm going to get this hot, but I don't want anything to move too much. I'm just checking the time. I got to leave in like an hour. So push it on too much and then pull it up. It should create a nice seal right off the bat for you.
And you can kind of adjust it, it's pretty hot. And then I'll check the angle. I like it. Now I'm going to go around the edges and make sure it's all sealed on there really nice. And then I'll probably give it a little bit of a curve. So I don't want to get the whole seal hot at one time. So I'll kind of do the bottom. That's nice and sealed on. And then I'm going to wait for that to cool down to do the top. Otherwise that thing is going to be like whoop, 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 whoop. If I kept the handle on there, maybe I could have done that. But I don't really like to do that. I'd rather just wait. Alright, other side. It is on there very well. Quick story, when I used to work at Stone Arch Studio and started sticking things like millies or whatever onto pipes, I remember after my first day of sticking millies onto chillums, and my manager came over and he took each chillum and just slammed them down on the table one by one, slammed them down, and every one of the millies popped off of the pipe. And at the time, I wanted to cry. I was like, what the fuck is your problem? But now I get it. They were not on there. They just had like a punty seal on there. So you gotta really melt that shit together. I won't forget that. He's awesome though. I still talk to him. He was a very good teacher, good guy. That's just a hard lesson I had to learn. So I'm gonna get this whole spike hot and give it a little bit of a pretty curve to it. I don't know if I've told anybody that story. That killed me. Little curve. Want to get out the vivification lines that I created. Don't do it that way. Want to be careful that I'm not aiming the flame like into this direction, because now that's cold, and if I accidentally hit it, thermal shock. Oh, that was close. Don't do that. A lot of glass blowers have a hand torch, and then they don't have to go on all these dipshit angles like I do. A little hand torch and zing, zing, zing. I should probably get one, but here we are. So I'll let that cool down just a little more, and then I'll set it on the table to make sure it sits right. Just checking the bowl for any kind of... And then there's going to be a little haziness usually in this bend. So after I heat it back up, I'll blast that out. Sometimes there's haziness right here in that bend. I'm going to blast that out. And I'll possibly put a few dots on top just so then it's like 1, 2, 3. That makes me happy. So back in the annealer. Oh, I got to get going. I got to finish all the shit I'm doing and get to the meeting I got going on, but I'll answer a couple more questions.
Nice. Skateboards, BMX, symbols, my kind of shop. Did you see the rock climbing too? Oh! It's rock climbing too. I have the best boyfriend. Love that you do kickstands. Thank you. Wish I could do a handstand. I love the shape of it. Looks like an instrument. Oh, thank you. What's a hobby like this cost? I'd love to get into it. 10 grand? I don't know. I'd take some classes before you commit to buying anything for sure. I have a cheap little pipe here. They must not have been annealed proper. I gave it a tap and the inside of the bowl shattered. Yeah, it's probably china glass. If you ever find a bowl that's really cheap at the head shop and you're like, holy shit, that's way too good of a deal, it's china glass. It's not annealed properly. And people, uneducated people will say that about my stuff. They're like, oh my god, I could buy that $45 pipe for 15 bucks. Well, it cost me more than 15 bucks to make it, and you're buying shit china glass. So don't compare my stuff to... They have no idea what they're talking about. Not you, just random people. Anytime I try to do a bend like that, it doesn't go well. You have to get the perfect heat. You can't get it too hot, and it can't be too cold. It takes a lot of practice. It's easier to practice on transparent glass than it would be for opaque glass. You can kind of see the heat better in there. So if you're trying bends, maybe just try clear too, so you're not wasting color. A good teacher makes you pay for mistakes. This is the way. Yeah, no, it's true. Jam on too. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for the demo. I'm going to look into this further. Awesome. All right. I think I've answered all the questions. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, like my videos, turn on notifications. At 2,000 subscribers, there will be another giveaway, and I'll make it live again. So, peace. I'll see you soon. Fucking.